Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's former Prime Minister and face of 1991 economic reforms, Manmohan Singh, passes away at 92. 7-day national mourning announced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Dr. Singh's residence to pay tributes. President Draupadi Murmu leads the nation in mourning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he left strong imprint on economic policy. US lauds his contribution in firming up US-India strategic partnership. South Korea's constitutional court to make trial of President Yoon Suk Yeol's impeachment a priority. Court says case to be tried swiftly in its proceedings. And in cricket, Yashasvi Jaiswal and Virat Kohli's partnership blooms as India nears 150 run mark. Earlier, India bowls out Australia for 474 in first innings on day 2. India is mourning the loss of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday night. President Draupadi Murmu led the nation in paying tributes to the former Prime Minister. She arrived at Dr. Singh's residence at 3 Motilal Nehru Marg in New Delhi and paid her respectful homage to the former Prime Minister. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankad also reached his residence to pay his tributes to the former Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his last respects to the former Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, at his residence in New Delhi. In a post on social media platform X, the Prime Minister said that India will forever remember his contribution to the nation. Other leaders, including Home Minister Amit Shah, along with Union Minister and National President of Bharatiya Janata Party, JP Nadda, paid their respects to the departing soul at his residence. Earlier in a social media post on X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared photographs of his meeting with Dr. Manmohan Singh. The Prime Minister wrote on X, and I quote, "India mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished leaders, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji. Rising from humble origins, he rose to become a respected economist. He served in various government positions as well, including as the finance minister, leaving a strong imprint on our economic policy over the years. His interventions in the parliament were also insightful. As our Prime Minister, he made extensive efforts to improve people's lives." Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge mourned the loss of a lifelong senior colleague, Dr. Singh. In a post on X, he wrote that with the passing of the former Prime Minister, India has lost a visionary statesman, a leader of unimpeachable integrity, and an economist of unparalleled stature. Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, also reached the former Prime Minister's home to pay his tributes. Congress MP Sonia and Priyanka Gandhi were also in attendance. Condolences have also poured in from across the globe following the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken offered his condolences to the former Indian Prime Minister, calling him one of the greatest champions of the US-India strategic partnership. Leaders from countries including Afghanistan, Maldives, Russia and Canada expressed deep grief over Dr. Singh's passing away, highlighting his contributions and warm relations with their nations. Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was also known as the architect of India's economic liberalization, passed away on Thursday night at the age of 92. He breathed his last at the AIIMS hospital in New Delhi after being in critical condition. He retired from the Rajya Sabha in April 2024. And despite his age-related illness, Dr. Manmohan Singh attended some sessions of the parliament in a wheelchair, which is a rare display of dedication by the 92-year-old academician and economic strategist. Manmohan Singh, a pioneering economic administrator, statesman, and India's third longest-serving Prime Minister, passed away at the age of 92. A towering figure in India's public life, his remarkable journey from humble beginnings to shaping the nation's economic and political landscape will be remembered for generations to come. Born on the 26th of September in the year 1932 in a village in Punjab province of undivided India, Singh excelled in studies despite limited resources. He won a place at Cambridge University before heading to Oxford, earning a doctorate with a thesis on the role of exports and free trade in India's economy. His book, India's Export Trends and Prospects for Self-Sustained Growth, was an early critique of India's inward-oriented trade policy. His academic credentials were burnished by his years on the faculty of Punjab University and the prestigious Delhi School of Economics. In the year 1971, Singh joined the Government of India as an economic advisor in the Commerce Ministry. This was soon followed by his appointment as the Chief Economic Advisor in the Ministry of Finance in 1972. Among the many governmental positions that Manmohan Singh occupied were the Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Advisor of the Prime Minister, and Chairman of the University Grants Commission. He was nominated to the Rajya Sabha for the first time by the Congress Party in October 1991, 4 months after he became the Union Finance Minister. He represented Assam for 5 terms in the Rajya Sabha and shifted to Rajasthan in 2019, his last term that ended in April this year. He was the Prime Minister for 2 successive terms. One of the biggest highlights of Singh's regime was securing the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement that opened up civilian nuclear cooperation. Manmohan Singh led the UPA government delivered about 8.5% GDP growth. The 2 UPA regimes led by Manmohan Singh are credited with the launch of social welfare initiatives such as guaranteed job schemes, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee, and the right to education for every child. Dr. Manmohan Singh's years as Prime Minister were, however, marred with scams like 2G, CWG, and coal block allocations. Despite the late hiccups, Singh's image as a clean leader remained untarnished. He will be remembered as the architect of India's tryst with economic liberalization and sustained economic growth. Bureau Report, DD India. In his condolence message on the demise of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about his inspirational life and the contributions he's made to the country's progress.
पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी के निधन ने हम सभी के हृदय को गहरी पीड़ा पहुंचाई है। उनका जाना एक राष्ट्र के रूप में भी हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी क्षति है। विभाजन के उस दौर में बहुत कुछ खोकर भारत आना और यहाँ जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में उपलब्धियां हासिल करना ये सामान्य बात नहीं है। अभावों और संघर्षों से ऊपर उठकर कैसे ऊंचाइयों को हासिल किया जा सकता है, उनका जीवन ये सीख भावी पीढ़ी को देता रहेगा। एक अर्थशास्त्री के रूप में उन्होंने अलग अलग स्तर पर भारत सरकार में अनेक सेवाएं दी। एक चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में उन्होंने रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर की भूमिका निभाई। पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भारत रत्न श्री पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जी की सरकार के वित्त मंत्री रहते हुए उन्होंने वित्तीय संकट से घिरे देश को एक नई अर्थव्यवस्था के मार्ग पर प्रशस्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में देश के विकास में और प्रगति में उनके योगदान को हमेशा याद किया जाएगा।
And now I'm joined by DD India correspondent Anil Thomas, who's present outside the residence of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Anil, tributes are continuously pouring in and the leaders are reaching Dr. Manmohan Singh's residence to pay their last respect. When and how the last rites of the former Prime Minister will take place, Anil?
Well, good afternoon, Deepika. Leaders far and wide cutting across political lines, cutting across political divides, cutting across political beliefs and thoughts, coming here in large numbers to offer their tributes. We've seen many of them already on television, but then many more expected. The last rites are expected in all likelihood. We've still not got an official announcement, but are expected tomorrow, somewhere in the afternoon. We're still waiting for the arrival of his daughter, who's coming back to India, and we're waiting for arrival. At least family is waiting for her arrival, and the result of which, and post which a decision will be taken. In all likelihood, tomorrow is the day that's been chosen for the last rites for the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But, the way he's led a life, especially the administrative, along with the prime ministership that he led, and the role model that he is, especially when it comes to not only helping India in the time of crisis in 1991, then as a prime minister in 2004, 2002, 2014, and also helping the world, especially come out of global recession in 2008. And a fitting tribute to his work and his suggestions and ideas come from the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, when he said, when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh speaks, the world listens. I think that's a fitting tribute to the man. A man who was an administrator, not used to the rough world of politics, but then has managed to survive and set an example, especially with his exemplary work, both as an administrator and as a statesman there that he's done across 5 decades. He's no more with us, but then his work leaves an indelible mark, especially in the world and also in India.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Anil, for joining us and bringing us a quick update on the proceedings. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India Live. UN chief says Israeli strikes in Yemen are alarming. And Russian President Vladimir Putin welcomes Slovakia's proposal to host peace talks with Ukraine.
(2024), the year the world woke up to climate's harsh realities and powerful progress. Let's explore the stories that shaped the year 2024. The Amazon, the parts of the North America burned brighter than ever this year. With wildfire and catastrophic weather on the rise, are we prepared for what's next? India's energy transition is inspiring the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that 2024 has been a year of immense climate challenges, but also of remarkable progress.
Welcome back. After that short break, you're watching DD India Live. Now let's get you an update from South Korea. South Korea's Constitutional Court completed its first hearing on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment and set January the 3rd for its next hearing. The court said it will make the trial a priority and will move swiftly in its proceedings. Meanwhile, South Korea's opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung said the party will go ahead with the plan to impeach acting president as per the mandate of the people. The main opposition Democratic Party had threatened to impeach Han if he did not immediately appoint 3 justices to fill existing vacancies at the Constitutional Court. If the opposition succeeds in its bid, South Korea will mark the first time South Korea has impeached an acting president. Han Duck-soo overtook as the acting president from President Yoon Suk-yeol, who was suspended following a parliamentary vote over his move to impose martial law decree on 3rd December. Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok would step in as the acting president in Han's place. Holding an emergency press conference with cabinet members, Choi pleaded against the opposition's action.
We earnestly request the reconsideration of impeachment motion against acting president and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. We sincerely hope that further political uncertainty, which threatens our economy and national security, will not be aggravated, and once again, we all are calling for the cooperation of both ruling and opposition parties so that the government can focus solely on the economic and public welfare.
안보를 위협하는 더 이상의 정치적 불확실성이 가중되지 않게
In the latest escalation in the conflict, Israel struck multiple targets linked to Houthis in Yemen, including Sana'a International Airport, leaving at least 6 people dead. In addition to striking the airport, the Israeli military said it also targeted military infrastructure at ports on Yemen's west coast and 2 power stations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue its mission until it was completed. Defense Minister Katz added that Israel will continue attacking Houthis to remove threats to the state of Israel.
We have just seen a precise operation by the Israeli Air Force hitting specific Houthi targets in Yemen at the airport, at the port. As we said, whoever hurts Israel, we will hurt him. We will hunt down all the Houthi leaders, hit them as we have done elsewhere. No one will be able to escape Israel's long measure. We will attack them in order to remove threats to the state of Israel.
Israel's retaliatory strikes comes as Houthis have repeatedly attacked the country with drones and missiles since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. The United Nations has expressed concerns over Israel's latest airstrikes in Yemen, warning of further regional escalation, with the spokesperson of UN Chief Antonio Guterres saying that the airstrikes on Yemen's Sana'a International Airport, the Red Sea ports and power stations were particularly alarming.
The Secretary General remains deeply concerned about the risk of further escalation in the region and reiterates his call for all parties concerned to cease all military actions and to exercise utmost restraint. He also warns that airstrikes on Red Sea ports and Sana'a Airport pose grave risks to humanitarian operations at a time when millions of people are in need of life-saving assistance.
Meanwhile, the head of the UN's World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, said he and his colleagues were traveling through Yemen's Sana'a airport on Thursday when it came under attack. In a social media post on X, he said that the airstrike hit as he and his colleagues were due to board a flight from Sana'a airport. On to the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. President Vladimir Putin said Russia welcomes Slovakia's proposal to host peace talks with Ukraine, emphasizing Moscow's commitment to resolving the conflict.
As for the place for talks, yes, Fico said if it comes to negotiations, they would be happy to provide their own country as a platform for such negotiations. We are not opposed if it comes to that. Why not? Since Slovakia takes a neutral position. In our opinion, this position is neutral and Slovakia as host for talks is an acceptable option for us.
Meanwhile, both the nations continue strikes on each other. Russian drones struck a multi-story apartment building in the frontline town of Chasiv Yar in Donetsk region of Ukraine on Thursday. 2 people were killed and 2 were injured in the strike. Regional officials of Dnipropetrovsk region said a drone strike on the market in the town of Nikopol injured 8 people on Thursday morning. The Ukrainian military said it shot down 20 drones launched by Russia overnight. Azerbaijan set up a special commission and sent its delegation to investigate causes and all the details of plane crash in Kazakhstan. Following the incident, President Aliyev returned home from Russia, where he had been due to attend a summit of CIRS countries' leader on Wednesday. On Thursday, Azerbaijan observes day of mourning for victims of passenger plane crash. Now, 14 Azerbaijani citizens who survived the plane crash near Akhtau in Kazakhstan arrived in Baku on Thursday. 7 of the survivors were transported to the hospitals by ambulances. Another 7 injured and the bodies of 4 victims were arrived to Baku on a second plane. The rest of the Azerbaijani citizens who survived the crash will remain in Kazakhstan, where they will undergo medical treatment. You're watching DD India Live, and now let's take a look at other stories making news around the globe. Eyewitnesses captured footage of 2 tailless Chinese military aircraft flying over Chengdu. The larger diamond-shaped aircraft and a smaller conventional layout design lack typical angles, enhancing their stealth. China's Ministry of Defense and the US Department of Defense are yet to comment on this. Indonesia is sending humanitarian aid to Vanuatu, an island country located at the South Pacific Ocean, after a devastating 7.3 magnitude earthquake affected 80,000 people. The assistance includes rescue teams, clean water, health services, and rebuilding vital infrastructure. 2 sailors lost their lives in separate incidents during the stormy Sydney to Hobart yacht race. Several yachts were forced to withdraw amid treacherous 25-knot winds. In cricket, Indian players wear black armbands to mourn the loss of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on day 2 of the Boxing Day Test at Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia. A massive mix-up between Yashasvi Jaiswal and Virat Kohli resulted into the youngster getting run out after scoring 78. Later, Poland dismissed Virat Kohli once again with the ball outside the off-stump. Currently, India seems to be in trouble as they have lost 4 wickets, which are barely crossing 150-run mark. Earlier, India bowled out Australia for 474 runs in their first innings on the second day. Steve Smith made his 34th Test century before a bizarre dismissal. Batsman Jasprit Bumrah was the pick of the bowlers with 4 for 99, while spinner Ravindra Jadeja took 3 for 78. Now, this year, the 27th of December marks the 227th birth anniversary of the legendary Urdu poet Mirza Ghalib. The poet's work still resonates with a plethora of literature and poetry enthusiasts. More in this report by DD India's Sandra Sinha.
This is Gully Qasim Jan in Old Delhi's Balli Maran. And this is the mansion where Mirza Ghalib, the legendary Urdu poet, stayed for the last years of his life. As he said, ये दुनिया जिस्म है और दिल्ली उसकी जान. That is, the world is the body and Delhi is its soul.
The simple verses written on these walls are as relevant today as they were during Ghalib's time. हाथों की लकीरों पे मत जाए गालिब, किस्मत उनकी भी होती है जिनके हाथ नहीं होते. That is, do not go by the lines on the palm of your hand, Ghalib. Luck is bestowed even on those who do not have hands. Even after 155 years of his death, the lines continue to inspire and hold everyone in an awe of the great poet. Works by various musicians and celebrated Hindi cinema lyricists, including Gulzar, have been greatly inspired by Ghalib. Legendary ghazal maestro late Jagjit Singh formed a memorable partnership with Gulzar to make one of the most iconic TV series on the late poet. Mirza Ghalib aired on Doordarshan National in 1988, and it was an instant hit with the audiences. Scores of literature enthusiasts continue to visit the Ghalib Ki Haveli in the heart of Old Delhi. This 19th century Haveli was gifted to Ghalib by a physician named Hakim and served as the poet's home from 1860 until his death in 1869. A renovated portion of this Haveli is now a museum showcasing Ghalib's life and works. The museum features various artifacts including handwritten poems, books, and personal belongings of the poet. Hailing from Agra, Ghalib belonged to a family of nobles and was educated in Persian, Arabic, and Urdu. This year, the 27th of December, marks his 227th birth anniversary. Ghalib's poetry is considered some of the most iconic and influential in Urdu literature. His poetry explored themes of love, spirituality, social issues, and the human condition. Mirza Ghalib's life, works, and legacy continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world.
हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमा, लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले. Urdu enthusiasts and Urdu literature enthusiasts must be familiar with these lines by Ghalib. These mean thousands of desires of mine, each worth dying for. Many of them I have realized, yet I yearn for more. With camera person Kumara Datta, this is Antara Sinha for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live this afternoon. Namaskar.